What's happening, Elevation Nation? We got another episode of Fortitude 15. It is June 5th, and thankfully the sun has come and the heat has come. It has been freezing for some reason up in New York. Sam, I know you were out in Denver this past weekend celebrating another Parker's wedding. How was it? Break it down for us in 30 seconds. Let's hear it.
It was great. Every time I go to Colorado, I'm like, why don't I live here? It's such a beautiful state. We had a wonderful time celebrating love. Shout out to the other and original Parker for a great wedding. It was a lovely time.
The original Parker. I guess it's original to you because you hadn't met me.
He's OG, man. You're
OG.
Parker 2.0. He's the OG Parker.
Fair enough. Well, if you do end up moving to Denver at some point in your life, I do think that's a great excuse for you to learn how to ski finally.
That's so fair. Ski, whitewater rafting. You know I love whitewater rafting. That's my favorite.
Yeah, but like, is whitewater rafting a hobby that people like do often?
Yeah, I think. People cooler than me.
You would become a guide, or you would just like go whitewater rafting on your own?
Listen, this probably is not happening, so there's no point in going down this road. I had a wonderful time. Parker, I hope you had a nice weekend. We got an interesting topic for today. I'm excited to get into because it's one that I know myself personally I have been struggling with, continue to struggle with, and don't know if I ever won't struggle with it, but I'm trying to get better. And it's the pressure to always make the right decision. As we've gotten older, come up through the years, and really the main reason why we started Elevation Nation was that was the first time in our life where all the decisions were on us to make. And therefore the outcomes and the ramifications of said decisions were just on us. And I know when I graduated college and went into the real world, I felt that crippling anxiety of making the wrong decision. Was it to take a job in Washington, D.C., or was it to take a job in New York City? Was it to grind as hard as I could to try to get my highest raise, or was it to spend time expanding my network? All of these decisions had pros and cons and trade-offs, and I was struggling with crippling anxiety to not know which one of them I should do. And even now, as I've gotten older, I struggle immensely with, do we double down on speaking for Elevation Nation? Do we focus more on content creation? Do we move to a new city? Do we try to pivot? And I think that constant battle in your head of trying to make the right decision sometimes leads you to making none. So Parker, I'm curious, are you facing this in your life now, or have you only faced it in the past? How are you feeling with this topic?
I think it's a perspective shaping question and thought that never goes away. We always live in this world of like this binary world where it's either right or wrong, right? It's the way to do something or it's the way not to do something. This is good, this is bad. But in reality, the right decision, man, it all boils down to if it's right for you and right for you in that time. But you would never really know if it's the right decision unless you go do it. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
You have to, like, because you could do all of the research, you could do all of the thinking, and then go down that route. And it could still end up being the opposite of the quote-unquote right direction. But at least you put that foot forward and you went a direction, to your point. Imagine how many times you're going back and forth. Oh, do I make this decision? Do I not make this decision? Do I go here? Do I go there? To that point, is like paralysis. It's like, well, I haven't gone anywhere because I'm thinking about it too much. When in reality, I think my take on making the quote-unquote right decision is, what are you willing to commit to? What are you willing to say, I'm going to put my foot forward and go do it? I think that's the big part of it. And it has to be aligned with your values and knowing what you want out of your life and how you want to spend your time and how you want to feel. And if you feel that you're confident in your willingness to commit to that decision that you made, I think it's right regardless of where you go. It becomes more problematic when you don't really tie your decisions to your values or those feelings, and you think that it's the right decision because other people said it was the right decision for you. That is the big thing about, I think, people who I've seen and people we've talked to on the podcast. People who are elevating are the ones who found the right decision for them is tied to who they are, what they want, and what inspires them, rather than allowing other people to tell them what the right decision is for them.
Have you faced that recently, where people were wanting you or suggesting to do something and you didn't feel like it was the right call for you? Or when was there a time ever in your life that you faced that?
Oh, of course. I mean, dude, come on. Like our parents, teachers, mentors, girlfriends, wives, sisters, like everyone's trying to pull people in one way or another, right? Some way that's like family politics, work politics, elevation nation politics, right? Everyone's trying to get something out of something. But what's really cool is that even for us, what is right for you might be right for me, and vice versa, or completely not right. And that's where we need to find a common ground. And so it's challenging, man, because what is right? What is wrong? My right could be defined differently than yours. I think
one of the reasons I struggle with this, Parker, is I could see my life going in 10 dozen different paths.
Dude, it could go a million paths. A million paths. Even with the micro decisions that you make each and every day.
That's, I think, why I struggle. Right? I know we were joking at the beginning of the podcast about me moving to Denver. I could totally see a life where I went and moved to Denver and loved it. I could totally see a life where I went and moved to New York. Or it's true. Or I could hate it. Or staying in DC.
Or it doesn't even need to be that binary where you love it or hate it. That's what I'm saying. Is you could move to Denver and then you have a new experience and your life will unfold as if you did something that was so tied to who you are. You want to feel like you're adventurous. You want to meet new people. You want to be in a place that gives you fulfillment and energy. Sure, Denver could be a place like that. I'm sure I can name a dozen other places that you could go to. Is that the right decision? I don't know. How would you know? We would never know. But maybe if you're committed to that, you'll find fulfillment in those things that you are looking for in your life.
Well, I think you're alluding to something, and I'm going to make it crystal clear by breaking it down for Elevation Nation, which is the decision isn't necessarily right or wrong if you have the mindset going into it that you're going to make it the best it can be. And so I'll give an example. I was extremely picky when it came to picking what college I wanted to go to. I toured probably over a dozen different universities trying to figure out where I wanted to commit to school. I was running out of time. It was either I'd go to Indiana where all my friends were going to, or I was going to try something new. And maybe a week or two before I needed to commit, I ended up taking a flight by myself out to College Park to visit Maryland alone. And just, I don't know why, I felt it in my gut. Maybe I made it up in my head and romanticized it, but I stepped foot on campus and I was like, this is the place for me. This is beautiful. I'm just going to go to Maryland. I'm going to do it. And I remember calling my mom and her being so relieved because I had been teeter-tottering. Indiana's great. It's fine. But like, I don't really know if I feel it. I don't know. And she just wanted me to make a decision. And I felt so confident with Maryland. I was so excited to go somewhere different than everybody else. I stepped foot on campus. And Parker, before we were in the fraternity together, my first semester at Maryland, I wanted to transfer. I hated it. I felt like there was nothing to do, nothing going on. I was struggling to make friends, and I didn't feel like it was the right decision for me. And I had a ton of regret. I remember calling my mom and saying I wanted to transfer to Indiana that next semester. All my buddies were there having fun, going to parties, doing whatever they wanted to do, and we didn't have that yet. And I remember regretting my decision immensely. Thank goodness I stuck it out and was able to turn that negative into quite possibly the most positive experience of my life, having met all my amazing friends and getting me into the man I am today. But I had to stick through some hard times. And I think with many of these big decisions that we make, we are longing for something different or something more. And so therefore we think as soon as we make that decision, we'll start to feel those feelings that we long for. Where there's probably more likely this really shitty dip that happens when you make a change, because now you're outside your comfort zone and you don't have that thing that you were looking for yet, because it takes some time to get your feet under you and get used to it. So you have this dip where things feel worse than they did before. Oh, I wish I went to somewhere closer to home. I wish I went to Indiana. I wish I didn't move back to DC. I miss all my friends. You have this dip period where it feels like you made the wrong decision. But as you start to put the pieces together, you're able to find your solid ground, you're able to find your comfort zone, and then you're able to elevate on the reasons why you actually made that move in the first place. That's when the magic happens and you feel, all right, I made the right call. But it's hard. That first couple months.
It's all about commitment. It's all about sticking it out and pushing through the challenging positions that you're putting yourself in, because you truly would never know if it was the right decision or not. And to your point, you stuck it out with Maryland, you stuck it out with DC, and with Elevation Nation. We thought a podcast would lead us to some world of fruitfulness in our lives, being able to speak in front of people, maybe make an extra buck or two, meet some incredible people. And now we're 400 episodes in, and look, do you regret it? No, of course not. Do I think we have more to do? Of course we do. But is it the right decision? I don't know yet. I think it was a great decision. That's the way I'd frame it, because it is tied to our values and who we are as people and how we want to experience our life. And so, I love this conversation, because this will be a conversation we'll never stop having, because we're human and we'll never know what's right, what's wrong unless we go do. So that's my big takeaway for today is if you're thinking about something, the worst thing would be to not do. There's a study done by Cornell, Psychology Review. Studies show people regret inaction more than they do poor decisions. We can learn from poor decisions, but how much is there to learn from inaction, Sam? I don't know. So that's it, Elevation Nation. Good conversation for today. Man, elevator shout outs. Who's someone, Sam, that we know is just always making decisions and going regardless if they know it's
got him pulled
right
up.
Or wrong?
Elevator number 77, AJ Eckstein. AJ quit his job, his comfy job in consulting, to go all in on his business, Creator Match. And he's made some decisions, and they might not be the right ones. They might not be the wrong ones. We're not sure. I don't know if AJ's sure, but he's continuing to stick it out, continuing to grow his company, and we're going to see where he ends up. And I think AJ's mentality of, this is hard, but I'm pushing through because I see something on the horizon that I'm getting closer towards, is one that I really wish I had, and I'm trying to learn from, which is just make a decision. Take a step forward, commit to it, and keep working. We all have, like Parker said, a million different paths we could take. But the last thing we want to do is take no path at all. Parker's talking on mute, but I'm sure he's saying something so insightful and so beautiful.
Wow, usually I don't even go on mute in Fortitude and 15. It's only with a guest. But what I was saying is there's a great visual if you think about all of the decisions that you've made in your life. Like, let's cut the screen in half, right? There's one half on the left, one half on the right. The left is every decision that you've ever made that leads you to right now. So that's one line, essentially, leading to right now. And what's on the right side is like 50 different lines going a different way that are an extension from that one line. We have no idea which line that we're going to take in the future, but one of those are going to be the paths that we're going to take. But at the end of the day, we cannot choose all the paths. We can only choose one. So commit to something that makes sense for you and just go and reflect in 10 days. Am I enjoying this? Am I not enjoying this? Reflect in 10 months. Wow. I'm starting to get the hang of this. I like this. And then continue to reflect and go. And then hopefully you could say to yourself, I made the right decision all along.
All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.